Coach Lou here. Today, I have a topic that's pretty broad, so I decided to split it into two different parts. We're going to talk about understanding different training techniques. Why is knowing this important? Understanding these concepts plays a huge factor in optimizing your training regimen. Okay, the application of different tactics during your training will force you to work at your maximal output. So rather than seeing your training session as a one-way street, you'll learn that you can push your body further than you thought you could with different styles of training or different tactics. So let's start with the sets, right? Supersets. A superset is performing one exercise or one set of exercises. Sorry for the typo right there, and then immediately switching to another set of a different exercise. So back to back. The examples that I have right here is when it comes to your arms, you do bicep curls. That's one thing. Okay, as soon as you're done with that one, you go back into a tricep extension. Sorry. So rather than it being the same muscle group, you're actually targeting the same body part but opposite sides. Another example would be the chest press. Okay, you superset that with the cable row or any type of row. It's the chest and then the back. It's opposite muscles. You can actually do it with the same muscle group as well. It's going to be more physically demanding on the body, but like I said, there's no one way of doing things. It's just doing one set of exercise back to back. Giant sets are similar to supersets, but it's the performance of three or more different exercises paired together to fatigue the same muscle group. So the difference here is that you start with the most physically demanding exercise and work your way down to a less physically demanding exercise. The example that I have right here is a barbell squat. All right, it's going to be more physically demanding than a machine. Okay, so you start with the barbell squat, then you move on to a leg extension, which is still going to push you, but it's not going to be as brutal as a regular barbell squat. Once you finish that leg extension, you move into lunges. Okay, it can be body weight lunges or it can be with dumbbells or plates, but you know that it's not as physically demanding as the previous exercise, but you're still pushing your way up as the sets go as you go through the sets. Okay, that's a giant set. Drop sets is a performance of an exercise, typically until failure, for a given set, and then continuing with no to the next set. Sorry, with no rest in between. Okay, it's the same exercise with just a lower weight. For example, right here, I have my guy doing a bicep curl. As you can see, the dumbbell is big. He started off with a heavier weight, but then as he moves on to his next set, he drops the weight and he goes at it again, and then drops the weight and goes at it again. Okay, there's no specific amount of reps that you should be doing. It's just a certain rep range. Okay, as long as you're pushing yourself as you're dropping, you will get the best results possible. Cluster sets are sets within sets. Okay, they're very short. They have very short rest periods in between, and they're typically at least 4 to 5 mini sets to be considered one cluster set. So think about it. Think about it like your car. Okay, you're pushing within your first set up in first gear, and then once you get close to the breaking point where you actually revved it hard, it drops back down. Okay, that's your resting time, 5 to 20 seconds. Then you go on to your next set right after, which is closer to the red line because you're pushing your body harder, and then it drops again. So you rest for 5 to 20 seconds again. So that's a closer set, reaching that almost breaking point where you're pushing hard, but then you drop it just enough to really get that little break in between and then go back at it again. A circuit is alternating between several exercises, usually 5 to 10, that target different muscle groups and with no rest in between to just complete one set. So think about it like more of a total body workout, right? You're performing all these different exercises back to back to back to back so that you can actually get just one set done. All right, it's going to be very physically demanding on your body, but a lot of people like training that way. Pyramiding or pyramid training is progressively increasing weight while lowering the targeted rep ranges for a specific amount of sets. Okay, so you're going to start with a lighter weight when you do higher reps, but as you actually add more weight, the reps are going to reduce. Okay, that's pyramid training. Now, reverse pyramiding is the opposite. You start with low reps and a heavier weight, and as you add more reps, you reduce the weight. Okay, it's just flipping it around. Pre-exhaustion sets are pre-fatiguing a certain muscle group using an isolation exercise before moving into a more physically demanding exercise. So for example, right here, the leg extension is not going to be as physically demanding as the barbell squat. So you will start with the less physically demanding exercise to quote unquote warm up, and then you move on to your bigger lifts. On a chest day, for example, it would be doing cables before you do bench press, or in back, doing cable rows before you do barbell rows. Okay. So that was part one. I hope you understood. And as always,